It's the Score North Twin Show.
All right, Score North Extra Innings, just a quick little bonus episode for you coming at you on a Friday to start your weekend. Twins will will be visiting the Pittsburgh Pirates for 3 games to wrap up this long road trip that they are on. Obviously, the Twins swept by the New York Yankees. The Yankees swept them at Target Field a few weeks ago. The Twins go to Yankee Stadium. Same story, get swept again. 0-6 against the Yankees this year. Every Twins fan knows the woes against the Yankees, especially even in Yankee Stadium. Those continued. I mean, there was some chipping and signs of life yesterday, and there was an awkward rain delay that, delayed the game an hour, and Royce Lewis didn't play in the series finale despite playing very well in the first 2 games. But I think my biggest question here is, because I'm getting kind of a similar vibe of during that losing streak that they went on the 7 games, and again, the similar vibe of winning 6 of their 18. What kind of team do the Twins have here? So, yes, they're still over 500. They're multiple games out of first place, but I think it's pretty clear, like, the Twins are not a great team. That's kind of my overall arching view of this team over the last, over the first, I should say, third plus of the season. They're not a great team. They've gone 0-5 against Cleveland. They've gone 0-3 against the Baltimore Orioles. They've gone 0-6, obviously, against the Yankees. They've been outscored negative 54 runs. They have a minus 54 run differential in those 3 against those 3 teams alone. I mean, against everyone else, they've been able to beat up on some other teams. They're 33-15 against everyone else outside of those 3 teams that I didn't list. So, yeah, I mean, they've beat up on some bad teams and some, good teams that are in the same tier as the Twins. But there is a huge gap in reality, I think, between where the Twins are and where the Yankees and the Guardians and the Birds are. There's a gap there. And right now, the Twins kind of feel like a fringe playoff team that could be there on Wild Card Weekend or could find themselves being sellers at the deadline. They also could maybe turn some things on here at the soft part of their schedule, rack up some wins, realize that, hey, we are still a decent team, but we're a few pieces away from being one of those great teams in the AL like Cleveland, New York, and Baltimore. But there's a gap. There's a significant gap. I mean, I had preseason expectations that I could see this Twins team playing in the ALCS, and then they had some injuries happen, and they got off to a bad start, but then they win 17 of 20, and then they lose 7 straight, but then they pick it back up by winning 9 of 12, and then they're getting swept again. It's a roller coaster team. I mean, when you look at Cleveland, wind tunnels or not, which, by the way, thank you to all the Cleveland fans. That is a viral tweet that exploded. I've never had a tweet go viral like that, so appreciate all the Guards fans that have maybe now found this podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe button for your 3rd place Minnesota Twins show as the Twins try to chase Cleveland, with Cleveland kind of having a stranglehold on the AL Central. But they weren't able to find consistency with their lineup for a little bit with those injuries. And again, here they sit just as a team that is probably a fringe playoff team that has come down to earth a little bit. The Central's gotten a hell of a lot better. Kansas City's been better. Detroit's finally winning some games here outside of Chicago, which obviously speaks for itself. The AL Central is maybe the best division in baseball, and I do appreciate that. I think it's good. I know a lot of people mocked the Twins last year for basically electric sliding their way into winning the AL Central because it was one of the worst divisions of all time. But then the Twins still win a playoff series. They take the Astros to, 4 games, the ALDS, and things look like they're going to be on the up and up. And then they have an awkward offseason with their ownership. But we all know that. We obviously all know that. But where the Twins sit right now, just a few games over 500, wrapping up a road trip, getting to play the Pittsburgh Pirates. Can they get their season? Can they get this series at least back on track a little bit? Can you take 2 of 3? I mean, I know people are going to look at the sweep against the Yankees as obviously the focal point of this road trip, and I don't blame them, and I don't blame Twins fans for getting swept against New York for the billionth time, it feels like. But can you take 2 of 3? Then you're going to have Colorado here for 4 games. You're going to have the Oakland, or 3 games. You're going to have Oakland here for 4. Got Tampa Bay, who's, always competitive, but certainly not on the same level as the other big juggernauts in Major League Baseball. If you can take 2 of 3, all right. And then you go into a big homestand, let's say win 7 of 10, good. You have to keep pace. at this rate. Like Cleveland should come down to earth eventually, but they're not. They're 20 plus games over 500. They got a great stadium that's pushing the ball out. They got good pitching staffs. They got a good top of the lineup. It's just a good team. Let's just face it. It's a good baseball team. And the Twins have found themselves, even when they're winning games, not being able to really make up any ground. They've been able to level the playing field and, keep ground to a degree, but they haven't been able to catch Cleveland ever since they were just a half game back before that 7-game losing streak. And here they sit, almost 10 games back. So it's an awkward place to be, but if you start just winning games and taking care of things as itself, it, should work itself out, but we'll see what happens. Pablo Lopez continues to struggle. He got beat up again against the Yankees. Had the 6 walks, which I believe were a career season high for him. I know there was comments on the broadcast on Bally Sports North, for those who can watch, about Pablo giving New York too much credit after they beat him up at the start at Target Field. I mean, he's not wrong. Like, Pablo isn't wrong. New York's really good, and Pablo has been scuffling and struggling this year. And even though he spun a decent start against Houston, he is not the same pitcher. The sweeper's been a problem for him. I mean, that's been documented now. If you look from this year and last year, his sweeper is not where it should be. It's not as an effective pitch for him. Does that mean he has to maybe start throwing more fastballs and mixing in other pitches to be a successful pitcher? Maybe, because right now Pablo Lopez has obviously regressed a little bit after being the staff ace and was the heir apparent to be the staff ace, and he hasn't been very good either. So basically with Royce Lewis back and the lineup starting to maybe hopefully click here a little bit more, get your consistent lineup more together, maybe this team can be a little bit more consistent. But I just want to jump on a quick little bonus episode. Was going to do a recap late last night, then the game has a rain delay, took too long, decided to hit the hay, but I want to jump on to give you guys at least some type of content as they begin a 3-game series against the Pirates this weekend. Joe Ryan on the hill, who also got roughed up in the last Houston start, but has also been pretty damn good. Probably their best starting pitcher since opening day. He'll get the ball in Game 1. Simeon Woods-Richardson will get the ball in Game 2. Bailey Ober, who has also been on a little bit of a roller coaster lately, he'll get the ball in the series finale in Pittsburgh. PNC Park's always been top of my list, so if there's any Twins fans going, tweet at me. Tweet us those pictures. That looks like an awesome park to be. I've heard also comparisons of it being close to Target Field in terms of vibe and looks. So always been a high on my list to go see, and Twins will be there for 3 games. And yeah, then they have some softies on their schedule. But at this point, the Twins are not a great team. They're a good team. I'm fine calling them a good team, but they're not a great team. I don't think anyone's going to really is scared of them or taking them seriously in the AL. And things can change. We saw Texas last year kind of squeak their way into the playoffs. We all thought even that'd be a perfect matchup for the Twins. Then they go win the World Series. So yes, there's a lot of ball left. I'm not doubting that the Twins can't be a great team. Like, I think they could be a great team. But as it stands today, they are not a great team. They're a good team that has been wildly inconsistent. They've had regression to their best starting pitcher, and the lineup as a whole has finally gotten it, itself together with Royce Lewis back. And hopefully the Twins, can just be more consistent. I think that's really at the end of the day, can they be more consistent? Because if that's the case, then sure, they can be a great team. And maybe they make some additions at the MLB trade deadline. But this is going to be a fascinating team to watch as we're on the motions of this Twins season. So hit the like button, subscribe button. We had a great last week on the Twin Show, I will say. Shameless self-plug. It was one of the best weeks we've had. That's the lure of Royce Lewis coming back to this team too. So appreciate everyone that has liked and listened to this podcast. Obviously, I've been able to be at Target Field since they've been on the road for so much. So I'll be at the majority of games on that long homestand against Colorado, Oakland, and Tampa Bay. You can expect some extra innings content, obviously, from the majority of those home games. You'll still see Ross and AJ and Trevor Plouffe, who joins the main Twin Show on Tuesdays. I believe he is still on the call, I think, in Pittsburgh. I know he was on the call in New York, and I think he is also coming to Target Field for one of those series as well. So you get to see Trevor Plouffe also back in the Twin Cities at Target Field, where he used to be one of the big home run hitters at Target Field. So hit the like button, hit subscribe button. This is Score North Extra Innings. Appreciate everyone who has stuck with us throughout this season. Show's going to keep growing. Hit us up with the 5-star review on the Apple front. Yeah, we'll be back probably later this weekend. Probably a recap on Sunday night or Sunday afternoon after the Twins wrap up that series against the Pirates. So you can expect some extra innings content from that as well. Appreciate you guys. We'll be talking later this weekend.